welcome to Branches. My name is Alexis. I'm an amateur genealogist, and in this channel I discuss all things genealogy. In today's video, we will continue on with the story of Silas S. Cosper, and where we left off, his wife was talking to someone about her husband's time in the Civil War here in America. And they left off, she was talking about her husband and her first husband and her first husband's family. And so Emma goes on to say that they lived there in Cartersville for 2 or 3 years. And then they moved to within 5 or 6 miles of Calhoun, Gordon County, Georgia. On the same line of railroad going from Atlanta to Nashville, Calhoun was the nearest point to the railroad. The two old people and Jasper moved from Calhoun, Georgia, back to South Carolina in Richmond District, close to where they were married. So that's Emma and Jasper were married. She says, I think all the other Price children had married while they lived in Georgia. She never knew them until they moved to Richmond District, South Carolina, and only knew where they lived in Georgia by what she was told later. After the old people and Jasper moved to South Carolina, Enoch Price and his wife moved back there too, and those were the only members of the Price family that she ever got to know very well. She saw all of the brothers and sisters at times when visiting, but she never got well acquainted with any of them except the old people, Enoch and Jasper. She heard some years ago that Enoch Price was killed in a mine while her late husband and her were living in the Northwest. Now the next page is missing. It is saying right here. So we will go on. This is continuing on from the missing page. And I'm assuming she is talking about how her first husband, Jasper, passed away. She says, right across the bowels and knocked off all the flesh and tore his flesh to pieces. He, Enoch, picked Jasper up and carried him off a little way to a little branch where he laid him down and gave him some water. Then went back to his place, and Colonel Bartow ordered him to take the flag and mount the works, and he refused, for as soon as anybody mounted the works with the flag, he was picked off by the enemy. So he refuses, and Colonel Bartow was just in the act of shooting him with his pistol when he, Bartow, was shot through the neck and fell off his horse dead. Serves him right. Enoch said he then went back to Jasper and found him dead. Enoch never told me anything about where or how Jasper was buried. She never talked with any other person at any time who claimed to have known anything about Jasper Price's death. She never doubted his death in the least. He was nothing but a boy when he was killed. She married when less than 15 years old, and her husband was 18. And then there's like a question, apparently by the person asking these questions. And she says, no, sir, there was never any differences between us at all. So they probably asked if they fought or there was any trouble or anything like that. She goes on to say that he was kind and affectionate, but rather reckless and boyish, but they never fussed at all. And then she was questioned, how do you account for him not having written to you from early spring to July 21st, which actually happens to be my birthday, when he is said to have been killed? Oh, wow. He passed away on my birthday. So Emma answers, well, sir, I was nothing but a child wife with a little baby and in miserable health. So I have often thought that he may have grown tired of his little child wife and was not caring what became of me and the baby. No, sir, he never told me that he was tired of me, nor did he show it in any way, only by not writing me. I may be mistaken, but went into service with the 1st Volunteers from Carterville and never wrote to me nor sent any money or anything else. So I have just thought that he may have been tired of me and the baby, who only weighed 5 pounds, clothes and all, at 3 weeks old. She raised her baby largely on arrow or arrowroot, which she bought at the drugstore and mixed it with milk. She left Cartersville, Georgia in the fall of 1864 and did not return for 21 years. And when she went back there, Jasper Price's parents were said to have died, and since that time she heard that Enoch Price was killed in a mine somewhere in Georgia. She never heard that James, Adam, nor Liz was dead, but she has been unable to locate them since coming back south. They questioned her, "Can you give me the names of some of the people who were neighbors of you?" She says she can only remember one family, the old widow Hatch and her 3 children, a girl of about 14 years and 2 boys about 9 and 12 years old. She doesn't remember their names. The girl was named Tiny. She often stayed all night there when her husband would be away. There was old Dr. Young, who had a farm about 2 miles from them, but she didn't know that he knew her first husband. Her last husband and she lived on Dr. Young's plantation after we came south. Dr. Young had a son, M.B. Young, who was minister to some foreign country. I think it was Spain, about 20 years ago. She says she can't remember the names of any other people who could tell about her husband having gone into the army. His company was raised there about Cartersville, and it may be that some of his comrades can be found there. There was a Mr. A.C. Morrison, who was, I think, a lumberman in Rome, Georgia, some 6 or 8 years ago, who talked with her daughter, Mrs. Lucy Jane Cosper, now of Mobile, and told her that he knew her father, Jasper Price. She never talked with Mr. Morrison, and she didn't know whether he was in the army with her husband or not. She also says she doesn't know how much he claimed to know about her husband. Her son-in-law, M.D. Bryan, wrote to Mr. Morrison for a statement, but never received any reply to his letter. No, sir, the letter was never returned, so I suppose he must have been living at the time. And this is the end of Emma's deposition. I'm now going to read some letters that Silas wrote to the Commissioner of Bureau of Pensions in Washington, D.C. This first one is to Greenberry Rom, who was the Commissioner of the Bureau of Pensions, Washington, D.C. in 1890. It is typed as closely to the way that Silas wrote as possible. Renfro, Alabama, November 8, 1890. General Green B. Rom, Washington, D.C. Friend Rom, will you again do an old crippled veteran soldier a favor? I have contracted the catarrh, I'm not sure what that is, while in the service of the U.S. The weather was too severe on my crippled arm so that I had to come south. And since I have been here, I have not but one honest examination that was 3 years ago in Atlanta, and I never did get a reply to it. They was Northern surgeons. You know that this people are opposed to the Yankee challenging pensions. So you see that I stand a poor chance to get my rights. It is left to the postmaster to pick a doctor to do the examining. He, of course, will pick a question mark, not quite sure what that was. And he has it all his own way, and I do not my showing at all. P.J. Lockwood, a lawyer in Washington, D.C., has been doing some writing for me, but I think that he has quit me. I cannot hear anything from him lately at all. I have lost the sense of smell, and my memory is about gone, also my hearing and eyesight. I have had to use spectacles ever since I was 47 years old. I am now 60 and not much use to nobody. I have met comrades up north and some here that are drawing more pension than I and not nigh the disability. They admit that why does it come to that I cannot get my rights, friend Rom? Can you do anything for me? Truly yours with respect, Silas S. Cosper, Renfro, Alabama. It's really sad. In 1882, for increase of invalid pension form. This is information taken from a form that he filled out. State of Alabama, County of Talladega, on this 4th day of April, 1882, personally appeared before me, James Huey, clerk of the Circuit Court, the same court of record, in the county and state aforesaid, Silas S. Cosper, aged 51 years, a resident of the county of Talladega, state of Alabama, who being duly sworn according to law, deposes as follows, to wit, I am a pensioner of the United States, duly enrolled at the Milwaukee Pension Agency at the rate of $8 per month, reason of disability incurred in military service of the United States, while a member of Company K-14 Regiment of Wisconsin Volunteers, and my present physical condition is such that I believe I am entitled to receive an increased pension. I am now disabled in the following manner, to wit, gunshot in the left forearm, large bone of the left forearm was nearly all shot away, and the small bone was broken off. My hand is perishing away every year. I have no use of my thumb. In cold weather, my arm pains me from the point of the fingers to the shoulder. I cannot chop wood. I have no rest with the arm. I ask for an increase in my pension. I hereby appoint N.W. Fitzgerald and Company of Washington, D.C., my true and lawful attorney to prosecute my claim. Post office is at Alpine County of Talladega, state of Alabama, and the number of my claim is 18415. Signed, Silas S. Cosper. This is the examining surgeon certificate. July 5th, 1882. Height 5 feet 10 inches. Other exams show 5'9". Weight 160, complexion light, age 51 years, respiration 18, pulse 76. I hereby certify that I have carefully examined this applicant who claims that while in the U.S. service in the line of duty he received a gunshot wound, in the left forearm which disables him from obtaining his subsistence by manual labor. The injury of the ball was from the back of his arm and came out in front, fracturing both the radius and the ulna, thus a large node or callus on the ulna. Neither of said bones, question mark there. The arm can be bent at the break. His hand is stiff, both the thumb and fingers. His arm is nearly useless to him, very near as he would be with one arm. He is a man of temperate habits, and his disability is on the increase. I find his disability, as described above, to be equal to and entitling him to $12 in 3rd grade. On February 18th, 1890, Lucy Jane Cosper, who is I'll get to it in just a second. She is my 3rd grade grandmother. She is the daughter of Emma and Jasper Price, so Emma's first husband. She's also married to Samuel Cosper, Silas's son by Sarah Jane Orris. She was given statement in support of Silas's claim for pension increase. She was asked by the Bureau of Pensions to give knowledge concerning his condition. Questions are asked. When did you first see claimant after he returned from the Army, and how did you fix the date? She says, I first saw the claimant in August in the year of 1865 when I went to live with his family. Of what disability did he complain, and how was he affected? Severe case of violent pains over eyes and bridge of nose, and could not smell. Also gunshot wound in left arm. How frequently have you seen him since your first acquaintance? She says, I have seen him constantly until the last 3 years, and have seen him 4 times since. If he has continued to suffer with such disability, Please describe the symptoms which were apparent to you and say to which extent he has been disabled for manual labor, thereby daring each year. He has a sore throat constantly. He has not been able to do manual labor since the war, and for the last 2 years has been totally disabled. My means of knowing the facts of the case are these. I lived in his family 10 years and been neighbor ever since. Very respectfully, Mrs. L.J. Cosper. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been the last video I will do on Silas S. Cosper unless I find any more information on him. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this series. And if you haven't watched the other 2 videos, you should definitely go and do that. You probably should have done that first. Don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell so you'll be notified whenever our videos go live. I'll see you guys next time.